Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and start off with a video just to get you thinking about the topic.
You that video fly?
No, I haven't.
That's hilarious.
I don't like Cool Ranch.
Okay, so my presentation today is about bribery.
It's fine.
Okay, cool. So basically I've been kind of thinking about bribery, and it's kind of been prevalent in my life recently, because I just feel like I've noticed it everywhere, basically. Anyway. My big question is, to what extent can we justify bribery in Western society? And I'm going to kind of look at this through the lens of like the big business and government, or if you clean your room, I'll give you an Xbox. And well, I'll talk about my scarf, but I'm not going to explain that yet. So this is the deontological utilitarian ethics we've seen 100 times before. So I'm just going to kind of gloss over it as a reminder. Deontological, it's rule-based, by the book. Basically, bribery is never really okay under this perspective of ethics, so I'm going to focus mainly on utilitarian or consequentialist ethics. Basically, the outcome is the important factor, and whether it's maximizing happiness or a favorable outcome. So, bribery in business and government, I think most of us can agree that if we talk about this, we're like, ew, bribery in business, that's completely wrong, and that's supported by deontological ethics. As I was researching this, I kind of came across the Walmart scandal and the Bribery Act. Basically, the Walmart scandal is where a bunch of Walmart executives were taking bribes to open up new stores in Walmart, like a couple hundred of them. Excuse me, in Mexico. Anyway, so it got everybody, it's just basically the outcome of it is a whole bunch of executives got fired. So in this case, it's also unjustifiable under the consequentialist version of ethics, because that's not maximizing happiness, you just got yourself fired. And then, so also, again, under the deontological version of ethics, we have the Bribery Act, which is a bunch of acts going into place, or that have been put into place across many different countries like Canada, Mexico has one, I think we have one now, as well as several places in Europe, where it just makes it easier for governments to crack down on bribery in the business world. So basically, under both sets of ethics, bribery is not justifiable here. But then we look at the slightly more involved question of, is it justifiable in raising children or in the educational workplace scenarios? And so I think the few big questions we have to talk about here is, does bribery actually work in these situations? And if so, does it actually achieve the intended results? And so to talk about this, I have a TED Talk by Daniel Pink. I think most of you remember him from his book in Software Lyceum.
I love this.
Yeah. It's on the other, it's on the same side of the... Wait. Yeah. Minimize that. Go back to it. Go back.
We're the least mature people in the room, Noelle.
It's just
good. I blame Katie for
No,
that.
go back.
I'm
Yes, you do. What?
We should follow the time.
Oh, okay. There we go. Next one, uh-oh.
Push play on the other side.
No, that's not good. Don't do that.
If you full screen, it might fix that problem. Maybe it'll recalibrate its thing. Did it?
Click play.
It's always nice when you're being directed by the whole world. Like, do this, do that, do that.
Oh, okay, now you gotta go click out of the...
Escape.
Pause.
Hit refresh. Can you do that? Is it on your screen?
It's on yours.
Okay, let's refresh that.
It's on
Hit
the top.
F5 on the keyboard.
smart people in the world. Got 100
Okay, so basically what he's going to...
Let me show you what I mean. So what first?
Basically what he's going to explain is an experiment done by this guy about a problem called the candle problem. And I'll explain it later. Just pay attention to the outcome of what he says happens. So, stop.
In another experiment similar to this, where we presented the problem in a slightly different way, like this up here. Okay? Attach the candle to the wall so the wax doesn't drip onto the pig. Same deal. You were timing for norms. You were incentivizing. What happened this time? This time, the incentivized group kicked the other group's butt. Why? Because when the tasks are out of the box, it's pretty easy, isn't it? If-then rewards work really well for those sorts of tasks, where there's a simple set of rules and a clear destination to go to. Rewards, by their very nature, narrow our focus, concentrate the mind. That's why they work in so many cases. And so for tasks like this, a narrow focus where you just see the goal right there, zoom straight ahead to it, they work really well. But for the real candle problem, you don't want to be looking like this. The solution's not over here. The solution's on the periphery. You want to be looking around. That reward actually narrows our focus and restricts our possibility.
Okay, so you pull up my presentation again, where it is. There you go. So the candle problem in this presentation, or in his TED Talk, was basically you attach candles to a wall, given a box of tacks, some matches, and a candle. And basically there's two different types. There's one that involves a lot of abstract thinking to solve the problem, and one that's very basic. And the research Daniel Pink was talking about was how the presence of bribery or rewards makes the abstract process go slower, but the very concrete process, it speeds it up. And so basically, let's go back a couple slides. This question. Okay. So basically, does bribery work in these situations of like school, work, raising a child? And the answer is, depends on the situation. Because if you're saying, hey, clean your room and I'll give you this reward, yes, it's going to work very well because it's a very clean your room. It's straightforward. And like in the workplace where you're using your intellect and your brain to solve problems, to think abstract ways, to create better solutions, it doesn't work very well at all because you narrow your focus. You're not able to think outside the box nearly as well. So under the consequentialist theory of ethics, it sometimes, but not always, works in these kinds of situations. And then, as I was also found some research done, I think the Pew Institute, while I was doing this, about the way bribery works with children. And it basically says that if you bribe a child to do something, they're less likely to do that action without a reward. So therefore, bribery doesn't even have the intended results in most of these situations. So therefore, it's not quite, it really doesn't work under the utilitarian or consequentialist theory of ethics. And so for my last little thing, I wanted to talk about emotions and the way they were involved in bribery. A couple of days ago, I received this lovely scarf from IU. Supposedly it's for the yay, you got this scholarship thing. But I don't know, I sat there going, yay, IU just sent me a scarf. I feel great about my life. And then I kind of looked at it and said, oh my God, they're bribing me to go to their college with a scarf. And so it kind of made me question these emotions with it, like this guilty thing, like, oh my gosh, they sent me a scarf for nothing if I don't go to their college, or they gave me this